Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 225. It is the fourth day of the week, aka the Big Bang Attack workout. There you go. I'm feeling good. I'm very happy, very excited to work out in the basement. Besides that, I'm feeling good. To the main subject matter for today, which is I did a thing, which is the worst way to describe something you did. And I hate it because I hate it for multitudes of reasons. I'll probably get into it in the voiceover. First of all, I'm going to phrase it in this how I see it as first when I see that. I did a thing. First, I see it as a Reddit terminology. I really hate that. It is disgusting because Reddit's a cesspool, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. I think when I see that, though, that phrase, I hate it it's supposed to be like a cutesy thing, and for some reason, it's not, and it's not at all. And usually it's the same type of person that does this that also has these cutesy names. I'm not going to get too much into detail here because I think it's a voiceover thing, but it just bugs me because these are the same types of people that have no real thought, if that makes any sense. There's no original thought in there. There's no, hey, let me explore out of my bounds type of deal. These are very much people that are very non-human humans, if that makes any sense. They're just copied and pasted. They're an amalgamation of things that they consume and not real people. And I think that bugs me a lot because there are phrases that they have that they describe or do things with. But we'll probably talk a little bit more about some other examples of this, but the way that they're like, I don't want to get too into it here because I have a lot to say, but I think ultimately, but before I get into the actual ideas of it, personally, whenever I see this phrase, I immediately get to a point where I dislike it so much that I ignore whatever it is. It's gotten to that point. And there are other things that are like that now, where I will see something that says this and then immediately just turn away. I do not care. You've lost me at that point. I have a lot to say about this, and I don't want to get too much detail here because there's a lot, but I'm trying to save as much as I can for the voiceover, but I know for a fact that this is the stupidest thing that you could say possibly. I dislike it with all immense and virality that I am as my persons. I wasn't even that pissed off before doing this video. I was actually feeling great. But now talking about this subject matter is pissing me off and really getting the noggin jogging because these fuckers do not have that for some weird fucking reason. I dislike it a lot. But we'll talk more about that when we get downstairs. All right, so I started this day off with a single arm lat pull down, which was pretty nice. But anyways, back to the main subject matter. And before actually I get to the main subject matter here, I gotta preface this entire video by saying I did not realize that there's a YouTube channel called I Did a Thing. I checked it out. Not my thing. Not interested at all. But if you're here because of that, I did not know that that was a YouTube channel. So because of that, I would like to say that this has somewhat nothing to do with that person or any of that content or anything there. This is more of the concept behind that phraseology, not the person or YouTuber. That is something that isn't me. I don't necessarily care to watch it. So back to my main subject matter there. I think the lack of description makes it feel like there's a lack of creativity behind something. Like you can't give something a title, so you have to use a default title. And I dislike that because I feel like if you are in a creative or artistic endeavor, most of the time you'll find something to call something you're making. I think that most of the time that's how it is usually, even if it isn't make any fucking sense. The amount of songs that you can look at that have absolutely zero meaning behind the name, but yet it's probably an inside joke or something for the bandmates to have, but they have something going along with them. See Panic at the Disco, their first album, all of the song names are ridiculous, but yet there's something. They have some weird quality to them, and it's just one part of it. But after thinking about this for a good while, because I was wondering what about this pissed me off the most, and I had figured it out finally. After doing some soul searching during this voiceover, I was like, oh my god, it came to me. The reason why I hate this the most is because It's just another form of fishing for compliments. This is all this is. This is all that the entire phrase "I did a thing" is, and it bugs me because it is a lowest common denominator style fishing for compliments. The equivalency of "I don't look good in this dress" from a woman, but this is for a man and or a creative mind. It's just so lackluster of a method in order to try to gain some notoriety that it bugs me because it feels like such a cop out for a person that should in theory be doing a little bit better, but instead is settling for what is the bottom of the barrel when it comes to creativity and trying to get other people to see their creative works. It just doesn't work out for me, and it doesn't work out for many people. You can tell when people are doing things in order to try to fish out the compliments, and it's sad really when it happens because you're like, all right, I now do not care because I know you're trying to do that. It's the equivalence of rage bait, but in a different way. It's like you're baiting in order to get engagement. It's like when you spell or say something incorrectly in a video, so then everybody in the comments says something. I know this is where it's like you're extrapolating a lot of this from a person being lazy, but that's the thing. It's a creative laziness that you wouldn't be in theory. Why would I care about something that you did that now you can't for some reason give me a title for it? Why would I care about it if you can't even give it a title yourself? You're creatively bankrupt at the very end? That's very strange. That makes me not want to check out whatever you had because in the first place, because there's probably no reason to. If you are going to be a creative and you're going to want to have a name to something, be creative throughout the entire process of it. If you are just going to come up with a fancy name for something and then have nothing of substance, there have been multitudes of people who do that, but they get easily sussed out, obviously. But if they are very creative and then are lackluster at the very end of where it needs to be, you can kind of ignore it. And I think that's what bugs me about it the most. It's just it's the lack of passion and the sort of humble brag that it becomes where you're like, oh yeah, I just did this. It's like you make yourself into the lowest common denominator when it comes to these things. But in reality, you have much more skill than you would like. But because you've made it so I have dumbed my expectations down, I don't necessarily care, thus ruining the entire idea of this whole thing in the first place. Because when you say this, you're trying to show somebody something. But if you tell me this and in a way, I don't care. You've effectively destroyed my interest, and congratulations. And obviously, this is such a random thing to be bugged about, but I think I see it often enough when it comes to creative things that it is something that should be stomped out and honestly gotten rid of, because if you are a creative person in any sort, way, or fashion, you should be creative through and through. Do not stop at the very end when you need to title something or at the end of any process, because the ending of anything is the most memorable thing. You will know when the ending sucks and you will forget about it because the ending sucks. So if you're somebody that likes to do this, fish for compliments in a weird roundabout way, just stop it. Not only are you a joke, most people are going to take you as a creative as a joke. So don't even try to do this dumb shit. Just title it Unreleased Track 1 or some bullshit like that. Self-titled is more effective, for the love of God. And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercises not filmed. None. Exercises skipped. Also none. Got everything in, thankfully. I'm very happy about that. But anyways, back to the main subject matter at hand. I think what pisses me off the most about that phrase in particular is the disingenuousness about it. It feels like it's something like somebody trying to be a nitwit person in order to bait other people to look at their thing that they made or whatever, and or dumbing themselves down into a completely different area in which they're not. It's like they're trying to seem smart, but they're not really smart, if that makes any sense. They're trying to seem like they're not as smart, and then like they're on the lower end of the IQ, and then what they're saying is higher end because it's so low end or something along those lines. It's something just off about it. It's like somebody that's not proud of their work. It's very lackluster, and I hate that because it shows that they might have something that's like good or passionate or whatever it is, but they have no real way of presenting it, and or just are too shy in order to show it. And it's like, listen, have confidence in your skills, motherfucker. You probably made something decent. Say, hey, I made this using this. That's it. That's all you have to do. But for some reason that escapes a lot of people. It seems as though that is you can't say that because apparently that's a faux pas for some reason. It just makes absolutely zero sense if you really think about how things work out, and people are going to ask and be curious anyway. You just might as well just talk about it. I feel like being very coy and shy and being like, I did a thing, makes you sound like an idiot, and also makes me hate you immediately. I make a pure judgment on you based off of one thing that you say, and I know, oh, you're not supposed to do that. You shouldn't do that. Yeah, I know, but there have been enough people that do it that make it so now I do it. So it's their problem and their fault because they decided to use some nitwit ass thing like excessive amounts of cursing, where instead for some reason you can't have a regular conversation with them. Instead they have to have excessive amounts of expletives in every single word. And I understand cursing. I get it. I'm a cursor in myself. But it's the same style of person where they try to like make themselves seem like lower than they actually are in a weird way. And it's kind of like, brother, have confidence in yourself, one. And two, now because I have my lowered expectations, I'm going to keep them lowered and not care. I think it's just a combination of 2 or 3 things like that combining together to just make it so I judge the book by its cover when they say that. And I know you're not supposed to, but 90% of the world does. And we'll get to that when we get to that, because a lot of cultures do that. But that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. Well, with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. If this one is one that offends you, please let me know in the comments below. If it doesn't offend you, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. This one's just one that always gets me. Every time I see it, I'm like, I hate you, immediately. I just like, I want to do nothing with you. Have a downvote. Goodbye. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please stay safe out there. Stay warm. Keep it heavy. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.